It's the Garage Guys NASCAR podcast. Watkins Glen is over. The road course race where Willie B got it done. 5th win of the season for that man. He's on a tear, I'm telling you. And the big one, the final push before the 2023 NASCAR playoffs begin in Daytona. The Cup Series heads there on Saturday. And as always, you're joined by me, Chase Holden, your host, and the one and only Dale Tanhardt. Dale, it's good to catch up with you. How was your weekend? Did you have any Willie B in the arsenal at Watkins Glen?
Yeah, I did. I had a modest win this weekend, about a unit and a half. I think I talked about Willie B on the pod and saying I really wasn't sure what to do with him at the moment. But I did say on that Sunday morning pod, Willie B's got the car to beat. I just didn't know how I wanted to bet him. And then I decided, the more we talked and after our Sirius XM deal with Pete Pistone, to just kind of simplify it, right? Simplify. William Byron, you think he's got the best car? Got to take something if you think he's going to win. And, I had him to win top 5 and top Chevy. So it was a modest weekend from that standpoint. But yeah, look, he waxed the field. I mean, think about what he could have done at the Indy road course, right? One of my favorite bets at that race was 80-1 for him. Shit, man, if he had gotten a few cautions, I mean, he probably had similar speed at Indy compared to what he had at Watkins Glen. And, track position is everything with no cautions and these stage breaks. And this car has ridiculously bad aero deficiencies in traffic. So, track position is key. William Byron's got one of the best pit crews in the sport, kept him up front. He raced a perfect race. And yeah, he basically dusted the field. So yeah, this could be Benjamin Bill's year, man. He is just fucking killing it. And if you guys are listening, I am in a car right now. This is a new podcast studio for me. I'm driving right now. Timing could not be more off. So you might hear some 18-wheelers on the interstate, and that's okay. It's high speed, high pressure, just like Daytona is going to be this weekend.
That's right. I think I feel like I need to be in a car right now. I feel like we both should be doing this driving in cars. I think for Daytona week especially, that's how it should be. Yeah, the schedules get complicated, but we don't. But Daytona, it is Daytona. I'm wearing my Hooters Daytona Beach cutoff because it's also hot as shit in Louisiana right now. I'm back to my cutoff boy season. And I'm excited. Daytona is always a dart throw. We literally have thrown darts. Dale and I have literally thrown darts in Daytona and made bets based off of where those darts landed. We betting on Brad K to win this thing tomorrow. That's it. Slim Brad K's.
All right, we missed the board, so it doesn't count. We got to get back on track. Good luck right here. Well, you got Brad K, Chase Elliott.
Yeah. God, Rick. No. Rick. So that's the kind of race that we have coming up this week. It's that way for the 500. It's that way for this race. It's that way for Talladega. And it makes it fun and entertaining. And for all the chaotic NASCAR fans, Merry Christmas. It's a great week for you. But let's go ahead and dive in. I haven't looked at much because we know how this goes, right? So I'm literally pulling up odds now for like the first time. This is the 1 week where I will be lazy and I will take my time when it comes to going to make my bets because they rarely change. So the first one that I'm going to have to go ahead and say, I've already said it before earlier on the podcast. I'm going to say it again right now. Chase Elliott is my first bet of the week. Chase Elliott will be the driver that I will be taking. I'm getting the odds pulled up as we speak. I'm not too worried about what his odds are because no matter what they are, I'm going to bet it. It's definitely, I think I've seen 13-1 thrown out at a couple of books. So I'm taking Chase Elliott. We're shaving the 9 in the chest. I'll have that on Instagram, as I said. We'll have that on all the social medias. You'll get to see the Hendrick 9 shaved in this hairy ass chest of mine. And we're going all in because I really think that Chase Elliott has what it takes to get a win here. It just feels right. There's a narrative time. This is a time for narratives. NASCAR wants Chase in the playoffs. This is his last chance to do it. You know, Alex Bowman has a Fortnite car. I think that Alex Bowman has a Fortnite car because he's going to be battle royaling people for Chase Elliott more than likely. His car is going to be the sacrifice this week. You know, you got to have a fall guy in Fortnite. Alex Bowman and Ally and the Fortnite crew, they've all determined that he's going to have to be the defender, the fall guy probably. So that's a tinfoil hat theory I have. We'll see how it shakes out. But that's going to have to be the first one that I take, Dale. What about you? Where are you looking?
Yeah, I'm going to go with one guy and rejoice, everybody, because if you're a typical NASCAR bettor, this is the 1 week where you don't really feel obligated to scan every book because you're not going to see major discrepancies when it comes to line changes, or not line changes as much as just where the lines are set, but movement as well. You're not going to see a lot of differences. The biggest differences you'll see is top tens and manufacturer lines, I think. And look, I don't know if I'm going to dig into that. I'm really not a big top 10 guy on the super speedways unless it is an underdog guy. Maybe take a look at Brennan Poole. I love our good friends at Action Network Rotodoc in particular wrote up a good article on Action Network. He's betting on Brennan Poole in that number 15 Rick Ware car, and I don't hate that. He got him like 200 to 1. I'd maybe look and see if you can find a 10 to 1 top 10 on Brennan Poole because it's going to be chaos. Remember, this race last year featured guys like BJ McLeod, David Reagan in that number 15, Ty Dillon, a couple of those guys getting top 10s in this race. Now, there were some different circumstances last year with everybody crashing in the rain, but typically this race features chaos and guys crashing out, desperation time, aggressive moves. It's the last race before the playoffs, so everybody's trying to win their way in. And you get chaos. So maybe look at a guy like Brennan Poole or BJ McLeod for a top 10 if you want an underdog bet there. But the one guy I'm looking at over everybody, I think I'm going to be betting on Chase Elliott. But when we talk about like team order type of shit, right? Watch out for Austin Cindric. You might be able to find a 25 to 1, 30 to 1 bet on this guy. Look, it's been a tough year. But both of his Penske teammates are in the playoffs. And he's the one guy that has not won and is on the outside looking in. He won the Daytona 500, finished second at Daytona in this race last year, has had other good, solid super speedway runs, was really, really good at Atlanta. If you go back and watch that Atlanta race, Austin Cindric was so aggressive and so fast. So when you can consider team orders, remember, Austin Cindric's dad is Tim Cindric, one of the head guys at Team Penske. I want you to consider that and think, if there's a team that is going to work really, really hard to get their guy in the playoffs, it's going to be Team Penske.
Yeah, Austin Cindric, like you said, 25 to 1 on Caesars right now. Some of these other books are kind of looking into him, and I love that. I love what you're saying. I love everything you're saying about that because it's true. Like, you know, it's kind of an every man for themselves fight with some of these other teams, but Penske is that one team where the glue will stick and they can help him. So that is a narrative that you should look into, and I'll probably roll in there with you because this is a week where you can bet on like 6 to maybe 8 guys for an outright and not spend a ton of money. So this is the 1 week you get to do it. You might as well take advantage of it. I love what you said about Brennan Poole. And I was looking over on DraftKings now because they brought top 10s back. You can get him 7 to 1 for a top 10 if you believe.
Wait for FanDuel. I don't know what FanDuel has, but if you guys wait for BetMGM, wait for FanDuel and see if you can get better than 7 to 1, though. I don't know if I'd bet it at 7 to 1 versus 8 to 1, 9 to 1, 10 to 1. I'd probably bet it down to maybe 9 to 1.
I'm not saying to bet it by any means. I'm saying it's available now on DraftKings at 7 to 1. So at a week like Daytona with the top 10s, as long as you lock these things in before practice and qualifying, you should be fine. But I will say that I may dabble in the Brennan Poole top 10 pool. Okay, he has been having some pretty fire suits lately. He looked like a Ninja Turtle in Indianapolis. So I thought that was pretty funny. Whatever suit they had is some kind of sour cream and onion chips or whatever. And Brennan, He's the only one really bringing back like the Sum 41 vibes from early 2000s. So shout out to him with the bleach blonde top head.
Yeah, I respect it.
Yeah, for sure. And with the Chase Elliott bet, so on Caesars, I'm looking at like 11-1 is really where he's at. He's pretty much like right up there with the favorites. There is a prop or a parlay boost that you can get right now on Caesars, and I'll probably be taking this one. But maybe not, because I've heard Max Verstappen could be facing some criminal charges for driving a car that going way too fast in an area. There was a lot of stipulations. I tweeted about it at Garage Guy Chase. You can go look it up. But the tweet basically was saying that Max could be in some trouble for going way too fast on a road where he was not supposed to be going that fast. I mean, it looked like he was in a scene from Fast and the Furious. So keep an eye out on the Max Verstappen and if he has legal charges. But they have a prop. It's Max Verstappen wins the Dutch Grand Prix and Chase Elliott wins the Coke Zero Sugar 400, and it's 18-1. Maybe you want to look into that. I don't know. I'll wait and see if Max gets arrested or not. And if he does, there's going to be some kind of a Tokyo Drift situation. Max is going to end up in NASCAR eventually. He's going to get arrested. He's going to get kicked out of F1. They're going to have no choice. Him and fucking SVG are going to start Red Bull racing in NASCAR again. It's all going to come to a head.
Well, we have the Netflix documentary now, so yeah, I know you guys have all been tweeting at me, tagging me on Instagram. Stop harassing me. I get it. Look,
hey, that's what we wanted. We got what we wanted.
It's being executively produced by Dale Jr. I can't hate it. I can't. I just hope it doesn't create the insufferable NASCAR Netflix subscriber that has happened over on the F1 side. Let's just hope it doesn't do that. But I'm excited to see what it's like, and let's hope it creates some new fans.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was our plan this whole time, was just to get Netflix to drop F1 and get NASCAR. So we just started abusing. You started abusing and making fun of it. So that's we'll see what shakes out. I think we've already got enough fans out there right now that are that are a little upset and angry about certain things, but whatever.
Hey, look, you talked. So 18-1, that Elliott Verstappen deal, it was 16-1 when I looked yesterday. I'm almost certain I saw it at 16-1. So if it's moved, that's good. That's a good line to get Chase Elliott if you're assuming Verstappen's going to win, just like he has been doing all year long. Something else is close to the 18-1 line. I'm going to go all in on Kaulig racing this weekend. I think we're going to be sleeping on Kaulig. All the narrative is about Ty Gibbs and Hendrick with Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman. Give me both Kaulig guys, top Chevy and outright. You can get Haley and Allmendinger both outright somewhere around 45-50-1, and you can get top Chevy 18-20-1. These guys were both really good at Atlanta, and they're good super speedway racers. They find themselves more often than not at the end of these races, and the more and more you do that, the more and more you are able to avoid the carnage and get to the end of these races. Eventually, those translate into wins, top threes, top fives. AJ Allmendinger, second at Atlanta, right? Or third at Atlanta. That's a top three bet. It wasn't top Chevy, but nonetheless, AJ was also good in the Daytona 500 and has been good in the Xfinity Series at Super Speedways. So we already know what Justin Haley's done in the Xfinity Series at Super Speedways. Absolutely dominant. He's a winner at Daytona. He was a contender in this race last year. Watch out for the Kaulig boys. I will definitely have money on both of them heading into the weekend.
Yeah, when you're talking about Kaulig, I think that's good. I said a little piece about AJ Allmendinger as well on the voicemail segment of the report. We were talking about him. You know, don't forget, he's found a way to win at Talladega. He can definitely get it done if he puts his mind to it. Now, top tens have dropped on FanDuel, by the way, for this race, and I'm looking at them right now. Just to go back and check, that Brennan Poole, he is actually 6-1 for a top 10. So DraftKings is going to be your best shot right now to get him at 7-1. So if you want to take the top 10 on Brennan Poole, kind of roll with RotoDoc and his 200-1 bet for Brennan to win, I think that the top 10 is a lot more realistic. I will put it in that direction. So 7-1 DraftKings, just to track back. Now I want to go to another driver that's up here flirting around where these favorites are. I'm looking at the line on FanDuel. It's kind of crap. Barstool Sportsbook, soon to be ESPN Sportsbook, has a great line on this driver, 14-1. Kyle Busch. Don't forget that Kyle Busch won at Talladega earlier this year. Don't forget Kyle Busch was up top at the Daytona 500 in contention before Ricky Stenhouse Jr. took it and saved the world and saved the state of Mississippi. Don't forget that. Kyle Busch does have what it takes, and if you don't think he's going to be coming back for a vengeance in the 8 car, just be on alert. That's all I'm going to say here. 14-1, Barstool Sportsbook. I like that. I'll probably be dabbling in that a little bit this week because I do think that RCR has been great on super speedways. You can't factor out Austin Dillon. The fact that Austin Dillon is 25-1 on some of these lines, I feel like with as many times as he's been clutch at Daytona, he should probably be up in the, the 18, 19-1 conversation. I mean, we got Martin Truex Jr. in the 18-1 conversation on Barstool Sportsbook, guys. Why does he belong there? What has this man done? You see what I'm saying? It's things like that that I don't really understand. Now, one that's interesting, Eric Almirola is around 20-1. He's been a good super speedway racer. Daytona dropped a preview on Twitter earlier in the week, and I think it ended up in our Discord. And somebody was saying, like, should we trust the signs? It was like there was a promo for the Daytona 500. They only had a picture of Eric Almirola. It was just Eric Almirola standing there by himself. They said the Daytona, they said the Coke Zero Sugar 400 coming this weekend, and it's just Eric Almirola. What is that about, Daytona? What are you trying to tell us? So I'm looking. He's 20-1 on Barstool Sportsbook. Eric Almirola, and that's really the only book that he's there with. And when you go to look him up other places, he's 22-1 over here on DraftKings. You can get Eric Almirola at 20-1. So yeah, he's right around the same area everywhere. Maybe everyone is understanding that there's some signs here. How do you feel about Eric Almirola?
If he beats me, he beats me. That's kind of how I look at Almirola. There's just, it just has not been a great year. No consistency at all whatsoever. He's a good super speedway racer, obviously, but I can't do it. For me, it's a situation. If he beats me, he beats me. I will not be betting on him.
There's 3 guys I'm always betting at the super speedways. And if you're an occasional listener, you follow my bets at Daytona, I'm always betting on these 3 guys, the Killer Bees, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski. These guys are, in my opinion, the 3 most talented, consistent super speedway racers in NASCAR. And they find themselves at the front, close to winning races. We've seen what Brad K's done this year. Should have won Atlanta. Was there at the Daytona 500, leading a lot of laps, and ran up in the top 5 at Talladega. Bubba Wallace has been close in the 500, just about won Talladega before making one bad block. And then Ryan Blaney, same thing, just about won Talladega, was really good at Atlanta, and is always a contender at Daytona, won this race in 2021. I love these 3 guys. They are auto bets for the super speedways, and I'll be on them this weekend. And look, that's all I got. I'm on the Collar guys. I'm on my Killer Bees. And I'm on Austin Cindric. If there's anything else added, you got to be sure you're following on Twitter, in the Garage Guys Discord, or Dale Tanhardt on the Action Network.
There we go. All right. So, again, those are some of the bets that we have early on right now that we're liking. Hopefully you like them as well. Be sure to, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and set your notifications so you know every time that we are dropping a new video discussing NASCAR betting or whatever is happening in the world of NASCAR. Also, if you're listening on the podcast, subscribe. Subscribe to this podcast. It's a great podcast. Write a review. All right, let us know what you think. Get it in the comments. Get in the conversation. Follow us on Twitter. At Garage Guy Chase is where you can find me. You can find Dale at Dale Tanhardt. We want to know what's on your mind. Who is your crazy long shot bet for this week? This is what we're going to do. You want to tag at Garage Guys FS on Twitter. Tell us your crazy long shot bet this week for Daytona, the Coke Zero Sugar 400. We're going to have more bets to talk about. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, honestly. But the main thing is this weekend, make sure you go over to the Garage Guys YouTube channel, subscribe. There will be a new episode of Dale Center dropping, and we'll be talking more about the Coke Zero Sugar 400. So we can't wait to discuss more. We want to hear from you guys. That's what we have for you today. And just thanks for listening. It's an exciting week. We're getting crazy. The IndyCar Oval World Finals, the Coke Zero Sugar 400. We might even have some IndyCar bets to give you at the end of the week. So that's why you want to make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. But this has been a show. This has been good. It's Daytona week. Everybody breathe and relax. Road courses are gone for a little while until we get back to the Roval. We'll see what shakes out there. But for now, let's focus on this one in the playoffs. This has been the Garage Guys NASCAR podcast, and we will see you at the end of the week or whenever else we see you. Goodbye.